We will be back in some form.
We have an army of digital soldiers because this was an insurgency.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, you are.
What up? What up? Welcome to the Patriot Party News. So glad to have everyone. Thank you to everyone that's sharing this out. It's something that really helps us. Glad to have you all here on a Friday night. Anybody that is interested, the way you come hang out with us, if you feel the need, we'd love to have you, is join.patriotshoot.com. That is right there on the banner there. Right there. We'd love for you to come hang out. This is where we get information, where we give information, where we have our state groups that Chaz has built all this from the ground up, and he's constantly improving things day to day. In fact, updating things like that. We'd love for you to see the state chats, and then also on Telegram we have talk time, and that's where I live, where I hang out, and we'd love to see you. Also, one of our sponsors, antiaging.com, very good products. Grounding is, in my opinion, a necessity, and you need to really, really think about it. If anybody's interested in gold and silver, this is where I get my gold and silver, or I have in the past. We've been doing that for about a year now, maybe a little over. Very happy with the prices, very happy with when it gets to you and things like that. So come hang out with us. Again, join.patriotshoot.com. We'll bring in the fellas. What's up, Mr. Edward? And what's up, Oath Keeper Bill?
Hello, hello.
Hola,
Good to see y'all.
muchachos.
What's happening?
What's happening to you? Yeah.
Tell you what's happening. I think energy is picking up. I think big things are happening on every subject that we talk about on an everyday basis. I hope people are seeing it. Are y'all seeing people in the wakey time? Are y'all seeing that happen? And by the way, I got to change my background. Trying to make it where I change my background so I can, because I'm switching shows all the time. But anyways, go ahead. Tell me what you think.
Well, what I'm experiencing is a lot of people are what's going on are pretty much hesitant to talk about it, but they know about it, you know? So they hear the stuff, but they're backing off and engaging in conversations about it. That's what I'm seeing out there with different people that I've been interacting, particularly today, because I had my therapy, my physical therapy. So with the technicians and the doctor, it was, like, yeah, I heard about that, but
Waking up, wakey.
Let's talk about this over here. Yeah, don't want to engage.
We got a great guest today that's coming in to talk to us, y'all. A lot of you know who Doc Pete Chambers is, running for governor of Texas, and I'd like to welcome him to the stage. So we'll go see what's going on with that man. Hello, Doc. How are you?
I'm happy to be live. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm great. I know you're running wild and have been running wild. Every Friday, me and Edward and Oathkeeper Bill, we get on. Now, you've got Oathkeeper Bill, and he is 6 years active Air Force. Now, let's see, Navy, do you call it CB? Combat Construction, yeah. I believe. So,
yeah, I did that after the Air Force.
2000, the Air Force, and then I think you were in the Navy after that. Is that right?
Yep, I ended up getting out of the Air Force on a hardship discharge because I had 2 little boys I had to take care of, and at the time they didn't have a daycare system, and so I moved back home to upstate New York and joined the Navy Seabees, part of a reserve unit. It was the closest unit, and boy, they got rid of my Air Force blood pretty quick, to be honest with you.
Wow. Now,
I'm
Doc,
sure.
Edward up there in the top right served in the Army from 75 to 79, 1st Armory Division, 101st Airborne. He joined the Texas Air National Guard in 1983 till 2008. Worked with the Texas Counter Drug Program from 87 to 95. During that time, he was tasked to form a translation team for Texas. Worked with all federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Retired in 2008 with the rank of E8, Senior Master Sergeant, as Operations Superintendent for the 204 SFS. Joined the U.S. Customs Service in 95 to 2017, and he was a supervisor at the time of his retirement. I just wanted you to know who you were talking to, and we'd love to hear a little bit about
context. Good for context, yes. Well, for me, I came in under Reagan, and I was an 11 Bravo, and I got out under Brandon, and that's pretty much my career. So,
wow. There you go. That's all she wrote, huh?
I needed that. I just came out of I'm in Amarillo. I just came out of a room. I just came out of a room where I got a room full of people, and I had to bust out. I'm like, look, I got to get on a show. And that really, you guys saved me because I don't have to stop and take 100 pictures. So that's good. Thank you.
Amen. We're happy to have you. And in my opinion, in our opinion, our goal is to get out what you think needs to be gotten out. I've had you on the On Tap. Me and Matt have had you on a few times, and we love the common sense and the authentic, how authentic you are. I've loved how you've talked about Proposition 10 a lot, and very informed, and I feel like you understand the battlefield like no other. Love for your thoughts on that or anything else you'd like to bring up.
Absolutely. You tell me when we go hot, and I'll just pull the string in the side of my neck, and I just keep keep them jabbing. Just
Well, we're
keep it coming.
hot. We're hot. I
Oh,
brought
we
you.
are hot.
We're hot. I brought you in while you were hot, and you are.
We're on a hot
rocking and
LZ.
rolling.
Go ahead and fire for effect. Over. Roger.
Get it
Okay.
going, brother.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll give a synopsis. I mean, just a little more context in for background
Yes,
now
sir.
that we're talking to folks that are watching. Yeah, I mean, I was 11 Bravo. That's an infantry guy, and 1983, the Rangers were jumping into Grenada while I was at Fort Benning and Harmony Church, looking at thinking, oh, this is gonna be great. We're going to war, because you're 18. Well, I was 18, yeah, and of course that was over in about 25 minutes. So we did my tour as an infantry guy and stuck a lot of bayonets in rubber dummies that looked like Soviets. But that's, that was the extent of it. Served overseas for a little bit, not anything, grandiose, but I got out, went to, I had broke my leg real bad during that time in training, and it had pins and screws and plates and all that. And they said, well, you're never going to jump out of a plane. I'm like, oh no. Well, I'll figure out a way to do that. So when a civilian got to take all the screws and hardware out so I could, get beyond the waivers, and came back in. I, like y'all, I did reserves right at that time. Went to college. My dad was a family doctor. He fought in World War II against Germans and all this, but he hard man, very hard man. But he loved people. So he was a family doctor, and we house calls and all that stuff. And he was good too. With he'd let me help in some of his surgeries and things. And so I had an interest in it. And so I applied to medical school with a criminal justice degree, and I took the prereqs, of course, that I needed to get, and I took the MCATs, and some reason I passed. And then they said we're not going to bring you into medical school. This is University of New England, kind of Ivy League-ish place. And they said because we don't really see a medical career in you. You got a law enforcement degree. I said, well, did I pass MCATs? They said, yeah, but I mean, why should we take you? And I said, okay, well, I walked out the hallway, and I didn't think that I got accepted. And this old guy come walking out, Hadley Hoyt, Dr. Hadley Hoyt. I remember him. He's a career vet. He was at the Frozen Chosen Reservoir. And he came out and he said, I told those sons, you know what, said they better take this guy. I was a Marine before this, and they better take you. So they took me in, gave me a chance. He told me don't screw up, and he's passed now, but great man was in 1990s. Awesome. And so I got accepted in basically because a Marine cared about an Army guy. That doesn't happen very often, first of all. But we got in, and what I did was I went to residency in Beaumont, Texas. We did an internship here in Tampa, Florida. Military, they put us all over the place. And then I did a residency in Beaumont, Texas. Worked on some, taking care of accidents from rigs and things. Learned trauma pretty good. And then after that, I finished up at Oklahoma State University program doing law enforcement medicine, being a SWAT team doctor, and that was good. I got some good training. I was always looking for a way to mix, taking care of operators with medicine. And anyway, I went, 9/11 happened. I went back into active duty, Special Forces Unit, 3rd Special Forces Group out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They sent me to the Q course at age 45. So I was the oldest guy there, going in with a bunch of 20-something-year-olds to become Green Berets. And, as the song goes, 100 men test today, only 3 get the Green Beret. Well, over a period of a year and a half, they nearly, booted me out there twice, not because of doing bad stuff, but just, I was a heat casualty one time and I had to recycle. And then I was on a land nav course, and they told me you can't use a white light in the draw. I didn't have one. There was about 30 guys stuck in a draw in the middle of the night, and I had a red light. And the sergeant, the cadre, said, well, what are you saying, I'm a liar? I'm like, no, Sergeant. But I didn't have a white. You're saying I'm a liar? Number 33, you're a no-go. And I'm like, okay. So I had to go back through again. And I finally made it through, and then went down range, left that in 2015. Did a few tours into combat zones and stuff, and got in the way of some fast-moving metal. And, that's just life in combat. And then came back and went to the Texas National Guard, served on the border. Operation Lone Star, its inception all the way till 2022. And then I did informed consents, and they told me you can't do soldiers, they got to take the shots. And I said, well, it's by regulation here. It's Army Regulation 40-562, Chapter 8, Paragraph 6. And they said, it ain't about the science, Doc. It's about the policy. We got to get better. Texas looks terrible. And I said, but sir, this 2-star general, by the way, you ever heard of that game, Rock, Paper, Rank? Well, that's what happened. And so they fired me, and then I went viral because I went on Alex Jones show and said, this is what's happening. And then I testified against the DOD, and that's a bad thing when you're a lieutenant colonel. And, they don't like you after that. Took 2 years to get my retirement check because they lost my paperwork somehow. And here I am. So somebody asked me to run for governor, and that's what we're doing.
Amen. I would think that being in the military and doing what you're doing would be a natural transition for kind of being the governor, running things. I don't think you have to train anymore to lead men and women.
No. Leadership is easy. I learned it as a young man, but I definitely honed it as an officer. You have to exude competence, demonstrate competence, and you have to eat last. You got to take care of your people. Those are simple things I learned as an enlisted guy and as an officer. And then you've got to be able to think beyond what's in front of you. You got to be able to look around a battlefield and say, okay, I know this is about to happen. We're going to be prepared for this thing. I'm going to pace plan it out, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. And then we're going to execute. And then what Patton said about Rommel, when he said, that bastard, I love that guy, and he fought with Rommel in the North Africa. But what he said about him was key. He said, these are the three things that I respect the most about him. The words that come to mind are audacity, 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 right? We've got to be audacious, because where we are now in this nation is a color revolution going on. They want to overthrow this country. Texas is a gem of the flyover states. It's the domino. It's a gem for a lot of different reasons. Oil, we're independent. The largest, 8th largest economy in the world, the 30th largest army in the world. If you take the Texas National Guard, the State Guard, the Air Guard, DPS, Texas Rangers, job description of Texas governor, commander in chief of that. That's a serious job. So you got to be able to think past that. I've negotiated with kings downrange and generals and brief congressmen and speaker of the house. I can do those things, but we've got to be able to take that now and put it on a geopolitical level versus where I operated. It was more the probably the operational strategic level. But I understand the political level because I've spent time as a liaison in DC. I've done those things. I've talked to those people. I know how it works, and I know the games that are played. And we're not going to play that in Texas anymore. There's a new sheriff coming.
Amen. You've in the past, we've talked about water, we've talked about energy, we've talked about the school system, we've talked about Sharia law. Is there anything that you say, I've got to get in there and I got to do this first, or does it all just need to come to you, or anything that you are saying, oh, that's got to be done quick? Or how do you approach that?
Probably the best question this whole week on shows, because the thing is that most people that run for office, I'm watching them, I've seen them for years, we've all seen them, and they typically are going to tell you, I'm going to decrease taxes, or I'm going to make you have a Chevrolet in every garage. Well, here's the deal. You got to be realistic of what you can do, but nothing happens in a vacuum. They all affect each other, right? Because education, we're at number 40 in Texas out of 50, affects the future of the GDP when it comes to, we want to remain 8th or 9th. Well, then how are we going to do that? Are you going to bring in H-1B visas? Because that's what they've been doing, right? And they're putting them in the technology and the finance sector. So then you look at, well, how is water going to affect us? Well, we're going to be dry in the Ogallala Aquifer. It's right underneath me right now here in Amarillo, goes all the way to Nebraska, dry by 2050, because you're going to put in 400 data centers, right? They use up a lot of water, 200, 300 million gallons of water a year, each one of them. So if we dry that out of the ground, here's a common sense idea. Why don't we go down to the Gulf of Texas, right, and go down there and do some desalination right there at Matagorda Bay, whatever, and have those companies that want to do that in a co-op sort of way, so ranchers could benefit from it too, and build an aqueduct out to the places that are dry. We pipe everything in Texas. What water pipe ain't gonna hurt nothing, and Kansas is doing that right now. So there's ways to do it. You can bring in, you want a grid. We got a power grid to ourselves. It's made up of seven subgrids. But the problem is the ESG things, all that fake, scam energy stuff. We got to get rid of it in Texas. Now people will say, well, property rights. What if I want to make $1 million? Well, that's fine. You can go ahead and get you some solar panels on your land. But as governor, I'm not going to rely on that. I'm going to rely on the other 60% of natural gas coming in out of the ground that I'm going to pump into the natural gas generators, then some small nuclear reactors to be on standby. We get another Winter Storm Uri. So you take all this stuff. It's not a vacuum, as you can see. I'm talking like a madman. I've done this so many times because I understand it, yes, right? And so now you don't just operate in that vacuum. You understand how they all interact. that is the beauty of leadership, is you get to look at the 40,000-foot view, geopolitical, and then work with the things that you knew coming up from the bottom. Because when you're a Mustang officer like me, you've seen it from the bottom. And so that's the same principles. That leadership is the same principle. It crosses over. It's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating to think about it. That we expect lawyers to become politicians, and we think they're going to save us.
Amen. Amen.
Well, without any
Oathkeeper
common
Bill,
sense, I don't know how they're going to save us.
Oathkeeper Bill, Doc, Oathkeeper Bill has, I don't know, at least 2, maybe 3 years ago, he started really getting a group together in his hometown there in New York and really concentrating on sheriffs and how important they are. And
So
I'd love for
important.
you to tell him what you're doing, and maybe Doc could offer you some suggestions, or even I'd like to know what Doc thinks about that. I'd love to hear y'all.
Well, we could pair up on that, Bill.
I appreciate that, Doc. If I may, I think right now in our country in particular is getting to the foundation level again, backing up, because like you were mentioning many times on many different platforms that I've heard you on, it's not rocket science. It's God, country, I mean, a lot of it's been confused with the upper echelon of the deep state, if you will, that is being cleaned out. And I find that patriots like yourself coming in is exactly what our nation needs. So we can say whatever, but the foundation, the level of constitutional needs to come back. And it's so extremely important. And that's something with our sheriffs. We hone back into our sheriffs, bringing it back to where it needs to be constitutionally. Our sheriff's a Marine, and he spent many years in the Marines. He is a constitutional sheriff. He didn't repatriotize himself, but he reassured that with us as well. And he looks to his constituents in respect to what brought him in as a sheriff, but he knows, and he has said it many times, you put me here, I'm going to work. You may not like what I have to say sometimes, because a lot of what he has said has needed to be said for many decades. So he gets a bit of backlash, but then it's almost as though, oh, I see what he's saying. And then we see things going in the upper echelons of our government that don't look 100% yet, but people are starting to wake up to it. And then the Epstein files come, and then you see General Flynn's, and then you see the young Tommy Robinson out of England coming. We're making that bond again, and making America great again, the cliches and everything, but it's bringing authenticity back into play. And when we see individuals like yourself, that is what people need to hone in on. And I see it from way upstate New York, Southern Canada. If I see it, others see it. So thank you so much for what you do.
Oh, brother, that's an endorsement. See, those are the endorsements you want. Mac recently, 2 days ago, a endorsement, right? And I don't take endorsement from politicians. I refuse to. They can do it on their own, but I don't put them on the website, because to me that means nothing. It really means nothing. It's not what I'm going for. I need endorsement from the people, right? On the 3rd of March right now is what I'm looking at. But because I was looking for that. I was looking for that in a leader. Right. I'm happy that Trump came in and put the tourniquet on the border. It made my life a lot easier, because we were looking at 12,500 a week coming across. And I've faced off with 17,000 Haitians with 40 National Guard troops in Del Rio, when 17,000 by morning's light, we thought there were going to be maybe 1,000. 40 of us can handle 1,000, but we couldn't handle 17,000. And besides the one that did the end around on us. So to me, the job description, as I see it as governor, when I read the Constitution of the state of Texas, it's in there. I provide for the common defense by adhering to the Constitution, which then at that point, it's incumbent upon the governor, according to the Constitution. I read it, job description, any job you boys have ever taken before, you men. I'm like talking to my troops, but you've decided that I'm going to take this next job. I'm going to become an E6. Did you read the job description? You sure did, because you had to go before the murder board. And if you didn't know, you didn't get promoted. That's why getting in front on a stage when I do debates with people, you think this is scary? I'm like, come on. You try to stand in front of like 8 E8s to chewing your head off when you want to get E4. You're like, come on. so the thing that makes it fun really is just taking those experiences and then transferring them over to this, and then saying, well, as the job description says, I'm to provide for Article 4, Section 7, the Texas Constitution, the defense of the state. And if the U.S. government doesn't do it during the Biden administration, then it's incumbent on the governor. So right now, I'm going to say it like it is. We have a governor that's guilty of dereliction of duty, because those people still came across into Texas, right? And it's lined out in the Constitution. So oath keeping is a thing. I just talked about it in this room over here. I said we took an oath, and Stuart Rhodes, and if you don't, I'm sure you do. But he is going to be our Texas the head. He's also an attorney, constitutional attorney. He is going to be the head of our task force for counter lawfare, right? So because we don't want them to cross the line. I've been a reserve deputy. I didn't cross the line on the Constitution, right? And I treated people right. I was actually, my badge said peacemaker on it, right? Peacemaker. And so that's what my badge said up there on the Red River. And so for me, we are, and that's biblical. Blessed are the peacemakers, right? That's biblical. So Amen. That's where I base a lot of this on.
Thank you, Doc.
Amen.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
What do you think is I'd love for Edward, do you have any questions? I haven't talked to him a lot, but we've heard so much about the border, Doc, and what still needs to be worked on. I don't care how good something is, you can always improve it. What's your thoughts? And Edwards, do you have any questions as far as that y'all can speak the same language?
Yeah, because we were down in the same places. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I live here in West Texas in El Paso. So I worked on the border for over 24 years. So I know how it goes. So the question is, El Paso has always been blue. And because of that, it's been excluded from the rest of the state, technically. Because when they talk about, if you're in Dallas and all that area east of here, and they say West Texas, they're talking about the Permian Basin. Midland, Odessa area, that's West Texas. Really? What about us over here? So what are my question, and actually it's more my wife's question. What are the plans to do for West Texas? Because we've been kind of neglected. Neglected. Thank you. For so long. And the area has a lot to offer. We have Fort Bliss right here, which is one of the biggest, but we've always been kind of pushed off to the side. How are we going to bring West Texas, El Paso, into the rest of Texas and not be excluded like we've been for so many years?
The great question, Edward. The group that I was just with in Amarillo, they said the same thing to me about the Panhandle. We've not seen a governor come here unless he's in a fundraiser, right? Nobody talks to the regular folks. And so I'll be out there next week. What day are we out there? I'm going to get the date here.
Absolutely there on the
24th. I'll be there on the 24th. And matter of fact, the same day that William Barrett Travis wrote the letter in the Alamo, but that's another story. But because I've spent time in El Paso, I shipped out of there 3 times to go overseas. And also on the border, they sent me down to liaise as we were starting to expand Operation Lone Star that way. So I understand a little bit of the problem set. I spent most of my time across from Miguel Alemán in Roma, and then of course Eagle Pass and Del Rio. That was the hot spots. But we all know that where the television cameras were, that 1 kilometer this way and 500 meters this way, people are coming across. Meanwhile, we're fighting over this wire that's in Eagle Pass, and so the only way that you can find out about something, a problem, is to have the scouts on the ground. And if I got to be the scout on the ground, that's a leader's recon. So I'm going to do a leader's recon on the 24th, and that's just because we have to hear the problems, and people are going to be just like in this room. They're going to be passionate, and they're going to get mad, and they're going to yell at me and say, "What are you going to do about it?" I said, just this lady a little while ago, and I said, "Well, I need to become the governor first. Let's get there." I said, but I mean, honestly, there's common sense, but truly, I got to hear their passion, because then it tells me, well, what's the problem? So then it behooves me. Then it behooves me as a commander, who was a lieutenant colonel on the border, and I was there with the 3 of the 141 there in McAllen and Mercedes, and then I have to get with those guys and then go to work. Every third night on that border, I was sitting at a listening post, observation post, listening to the troops. I was watching exactly what was happening. Or if there was the middle of the day and it was 110 degrees with heat index, I'm out there with the medics working on them, or people coming across, falling out in the, on the ground. And you find out the problem sets. Why did you come to this country? What are you doing here? Who brought you here? You find out the NGO's name. You start figuring those problem sets out. So that was my job also as a Green Beret doctor on the border, was to liaise with Border Patrol, to liaise with the Texas Ranger SWAT teams down there in the BORTAC and all that. I would liaise so I could find out the problem sets, not knowing about running for governor, so I could be a better commander. So then I'm on the ground every third night, and I'm paying attention to what's going on. I just sleep out there on the ground with them, and I would go, and that's how I learned, because good commanders in my career, Vietnam vets, that when I started out, they taught me how to survive by getting on the ground yourself, which means, guess what? The governor's mansion, they might as well sell it, because I'm not going to be living there. I'm going to be on the road speaking to people weekly on fireside chats. Remember, like before Ronald Reagan, but I think he did a few like that. That was my first president I worked under. So I'll be able to speak to them, but I'm going to be on the ground listening, meeting with the regional people, not with the people that are going to do the dog and pony show. No, I'm going to come out and meet with, take me to the guy take me to Edward Torres' house. Okay, let's go down there. All right, what's going on? What's the real deal? Because I know I've seen those dog and pony shows. You get the briefing. Everything's perfect, sir. I heard it in Del Rio Hangar. There was 17,000 people behind us, and I'm on the ground taking a knee in front of the governor. I said, "Sir," I said, he said, "How many Green Berets you got?" I said, "Well, we got one, me. We got 2 companies in Texas. We got a special operations detachment, right? I was in that detachment when I finished. What do you need? What are your needs?" I said, "I need more Green Berets so we can actually do something to the cartel guys down there that are coming across under Article 4, Section 7. And he's, "Okay, well, let's talk." And well, he looked at the general, and she didn't know what she's doing. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on." And I'm like, "Oh my Lord, help me." So that being said, I will be out there listening, because it is like these folks here feel the same way as you do. Nobody's paying attention. And I know exactly what you mean, because they say West Texas. I'm thinking, why are you stopping in Colorado City? There's still a little bit further, a lot more out west.
Yeah, exactly.
So, exactly. And so, it's not about the campaign stop to say check. It's about the campaign stop to hear what the problems are, right? Because I'm not going to play games. I could be raising some Coriani cattle up on the Red River right now and selling them to the livestock industry. That's what I wanted to do. But I'm back in the saddle. I'm putting a public service job, uniform on. And that's what we got to do for the next 4 years. I'm a term limit guy, so I'm going to limit myself out, either 1 or 2 at the most. I would like to hand it off in 1 term, but then we can get the ball rolling to truly give you guys service. And then I guarantee you, if you see a Republican guy come in there caring about that city, it won't be as blue as it was.
Amen. My son's at Fort Bliss.
I hope so.
My son's there at Fort Bliss. Edward, I might get him to come see you sometime.
You got it. Just say when.
He's a tanker there, so great. Doc, is the best way for someone to get in touch with you, to support you, to anything, to get information from you? Where's the best place? Is it this website right down here, or is it social media?
No, that's the best place, that site, because it has all the policies there. You can look at policies on H-1B visas, on tax, on the things that I meet with task forces now. And we talk about these things, and I bring citizens on so that they can tell the problems. But the people that have passion, that have experience, and that can work together, not in a emotional dialectic room. I lost emotions in 1985 as a E3. I learned that I can get, chewed out, and then I can handle it. So that's really what we do. So we'll continue to do that. And then I've got to get, I'm putting my number in here for y'all. If you can look to the side there's a place there, and I'll put it in there so you can talk to me. Well, actually, if you give it to them, or if you don't mind giving it to them, just give them my number, and they contact me direct, because we got to stay in contact, because I give it to key leaders. It's in the military, we call it a key leader engagement. So KLE. So we go, okay, that's the key leader for that region. I'm talking to him, because I don't care about the guy that's wearing the uniform of King. I need to talk to the guy that talks in his ear, right? Yes. I want to talk to the guy that knows what's happening on the ground, because then I can find it in a short time. Because I promise you, they're going to be passionate. They're going to say, here's your problems there, senior public servant. What are you going to do about it? Okay, now we can have a good talk. But that's key leader engagement. So great.
Can I piggyback off what you're saying, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I hear individuals in my local community get so disappointed with things. I say, you are your local representative. No, I'm not. I'm not elected. You don't have to be elected. You represent we the people. Right. I represent we the people. You need to stand up. Shame on me decades ago for not learning this. I can't look at that anymore as being, oh man, I should have. Well, guess what? I'm doing it now. I am representing what I'm able due to the research I have done. That being said, my father, my uncles used to communicate the same way I do 30, 40 years ago. If they had social media, we would be in a whole different world right now. Unfortunately, they didn't have what we have now for the tool that is being used to get our voices out. That being said, the representation of the 430 plus representatives we have in the fake Washington District of Columbia, that's not enough representation. And throughout the many, many years, it's been manipulated as such to not have the representation that the people need. So let's represent we the people. You don't have to be a congressman, a congresswoman to represent we the people. We can all do so and be that assistant to you, to our governor, to our other local leaders. But don't elect and then step back and think, oh, it's their fault because this didn't happen. Shame on me for not speaking out. So I just wanted to add that, sir.
Yeah, and that requires, Bill, that requires a paradigm shift to take place. And what you're living it, and then so when you're living it, that's true leadership. And it doesn't matter, because you're the guy that's whispering in the ear, but you're doing it to the ears of the public in mass. And so that's a win. That's a win in my book, because now you're the guy that I would talk to if I was, in Southern Canada. And I'd say, okay, what's going on up here, boys?
And our sheriff is the same way. He has, in his own way, built a local coalition of other leaders that I may not be able to really understand what they're saying yet, because I'm not of the authority to know. But he's been in communication with Tom Homan, with Tulsi Gabbard, with Tulsi Gabbard's team, Sean Taylor, local patriots that really have made a national impact, and it's working.
Yes,
and I overheard General Flynn and Tommy Robinson mention they want to come down and see you. I don't know if they got a hold of you yet, but maybe get a hold of General Flynn, because that's going to be amazing. Yeah. I look forward to that.
Yeah, that's who I talk to. Yeah, I talk to him regularly. I've been for years, especially with border stuff. And also Mr. Homan, he was the first guy to recognize my team, because when I left active. I wasn't an AGR guy, but I was basically active on active duty special work. I ended up being on that border, and he recognized it, not from me, but somebody that was a DPS intelligence guy said, this guy's all over the place down here. You need to talk to him. He's setting up a counter human trafficking team. And that's what we worked on when I took that uniform off. And so then he called me out of the blue. I get this phone call. He's like, this is Tom Holman. This would have went a lot worse if I hadn't called up so-and-so. Well, Jason Jones is his name. Called up Jason Jones, and he said, you're the real deal. You got a counter trafficking team? I said, yeah. He goes, and he was with Border 911 at the time. He said, we're going to get you your first check so you guys can kick off and start working. And I want to stay in contact. So he was, he's on our side. And so those are relationships that are going to carry things a long way when it comes to working together with the federal government. My job is to protect us against the federal government. I don't believe in anything that they say they can do until I see it. I've been there in North Carolina during the FEMA, during the Hurricane Helene, and watched FEMA come out, build out a huge camp and do nothing and then leave. And while the people on the ground are doing just like in the Guadalupe when it flooded. We were down there for a month and our team was there. Look, 17,000 citizens showed up, and that's what made it happen. Not the Texas Department of Emergency Management. They couldn't, oh my gosh, fight their way out of a paper sack when it comes to leadership. I've been there because I was there during the COVID mission, and they were just, screwing everything up. And it's not because they can't do it. The people on the ground care. It's the ones in the leadership position that are too much politician than they are leaders. And so we got to back off of that and say, okay, guess what? TDM guy, you're fired. I mean, you're incompetent because I've seen you work. I've got to get somebody in there that really cares about the citizens of the state, right? The citizens of the state are number one. And that's a firebrand statement, but it's a truth because we don't have a lot of time. And the time is what happened to all these people that came into this country that have, no respect to what's going on and that are bad agents. Not the innocent people that were pushed across as pawns, not them. I'm talking about the bad ones. We need to prioritize that, just like we had the deck of cards going into Iraq, and prioritize those people, the Tren de Aragua, right? The CDN, CNJG. We got to prioritize those networks because those are the networks that are going to kill people. And if we don't prioritize those, then we're going to run the risk of wasting a lot of time getting people that are just wanting to seek a better life. I get it. They have to do it the right way. My dad came and did the same thing. He became a citizen. He acclimatized to, acclimated to U.S. culture, didn't speak a foreign language in the house. We learned how to be Americans, almost, U.S. So that's what I propose is we need to get the system under control before the system breaks us. And that's the federal government's fault. Well, we've had a lot of years of 11, 12 years now of a really kind of weak system. It's an optic versus a reality. And I've seen El Paso. I've seen it down there. The optic there is just, that's the only place Kamala Harris went when she came down as the border czar, right? Yep. When in the meantime, at that time, El Paso, Del Rio and McAllen were out of control, but they weren't going to do anything really of substance to help, help us out. So I recognize that.
Amen. Doc?
Yeah, it was the safest place to come was El Paso during that time because it was it was under control. It was kind of under control by the time that they decided to make the trip to the border.
Right. Optics.
Doc, we sure do appreciate you. We love your authenticity. We love what you stand for, and I think everyone should, get in business, get behind you, get off their rear ends and go to work and show support. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to,
thank you.
I'm going to type this in right now. Yes. My campaign number, this is my phone. I'm going to put it over here on the side to y'all. Yes, and that way you can just hit me up direct because that gets me right to me. I don't give it to everybody, but key KLE. So key leaders. So, hey, I don't have my glasses on.
If there's anything else you need to put out, feel free. But man, we're behind you. We're supporting you, and we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate meeting y'all. And Edward, I would love to meet you on the 24th if we could figure out a way to link up.
Yes, sir. Tell me what as soon as you know where you're going to be at. What?
Hang on one
And
second.
I'll
I'll tell you
bet-
right now.
I'll send it to Warren.
He'll send it to Warren. Okay, Lydia's going to send it to Warren, and that way we'll get you guys the information, and then we'll be there, bells on, and we can have a chat and figure out a way forward so we can set some decision points for how it's going to look in the future for El Paso.
That's a leader
You
right
got it,
there.
sir.
You're rocking it out right now. Hey,
That's
tell Lydia
it.
thank you. She's great to talk to. Great to
It's
text with.
amazing.
Very organized.
And Bill, if you want to get New York to sign on with Texas, we can bring you all down. You know, well, it's a lot of distance between us, but maybe you could become annexed by Texas, and you could become North Texas.
There you
Well,
go.
that sounds good. I lived in Abilene for a couple of years, working on those B-1 bombers for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Doc, thank you for your time tonight, and God
Oh,
bless
yeah,
Yes,
you.
thank
sir.
you.
Thanks a lot.
And you just literally, Eddie, you're a representative. You see how quick and easy that works. It's just
Yes, sir.
amazing.
Yes. Yes.
So God bless. And when the Lord works, I mean, instantly at this moment, there are thousands of people right now feeling that. And that's what we have to get back to, is the Lord especially.
Yeah.
And the
Hey, listen,
authenticity.
Ezekiel
there.
chapter 33, we're the watchmen. And it's
Yeah.
it's incumbent upon us, and it's on our head if we don't do it. And that's why I take it so serious, because I know I got to meet the senior commander in chief one day, and I got to explain it to him why I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
That one
Well,
will
God
scare
Well,
me.
Good
Thanks,
news.
guys.
Thanks, Doc. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
and
Doc.
if we do anything to help you, we're in. Okay.
Roger that, brother. Thanks,
All
Warren.
right. See you.
All right. Thanks.
Oh, I like it, dude. I tell you what.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what I wanted to happen. That's it, Edward, Bill. That's exactly what needs to happen. Somebody, y'all two that are out there working, that have your stuff together, that know what's going on and can speak his language. That's who needs to be behind that man, and he's worth being behind, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Yes, sir.
It's a straight shooter.
Edward, anything
Right.
been on your mind that you think needs to be gotten out to about the border, or anywhere that you think needs to be gotten out to our folks?
Well, earlier today we were talking on Talk Time. We were talking about the tariffs because of the decision that was made, and a lot of people do not understand that. But way back when, I'll give a little bit of history before. Way back during the 13 colonies, there used to be a tariff or duty that was paid between one state to the other as they did commerce. You know, that's something that's been around the world. That's the way it works. There's always a duty, a tariff. Well, the harmonized tariff schedule is set out a tariff rate and statistical categories for all merchandise imported into the United States. And basically all those tariffs or the amount of tariffs is negotiated by the U.S. International Trade Commission. Now, there are 2 books, and they're about this big. And everything that is traded worldwide
Sorry about that. That was
goes through there. Okay?
Yes.
Are in those books. So you could go and look at a t-shirt that has a blend, and you could go to whatever chapter that refers it, and you could see what's the duty on that, if there's a duty. Okay? When I started in the business as a customs inspector, because that's how they called us back then, inspectors, not agents or officers, the tariff or duty to China of products coming from China were 200%. And they're complaining because it's 25, 30, 45, 50%, 100. But that's the way, because China was considered a communist country. Okay? So after around the Clinton era, that's when all that situation was change. And I'll just leave it out there because that's a different story. But everything that is produced, that's imported into the United States, every country is part of that international trade system that classifies everything that is being traded. I mean, stuff that comes in and stuff that goes out. Why was the wine leaving California going into Europe had such a high tariff? Why? Because they're protecting their wines and their. So that's the reason why it's always looks like it doesn't look. It was unfair tariff, unfair commerce practice, because you're protecting your stuff, which is understandable, but you don't have to put the 75% tariff on what's being imported. And then there's other trades that are part of that harmonized code that trades were different, like the North American trade, Mexico, Canada, and United States. It's all there, and it says everything. So that's the difference. That's what tariffs are, and
Yes.
They have been there forever.
Yeah.
From the beginning of commerce, just to get. And then just a quick note, somebody asked me during the week, and I finally came back and found it, doing some little research about Cuba. Now, I know you were talking about it, Warren,
Yes, sir.
but Cuba has nickel and cobalt. It's one of their natural resources. Okay,
Yes, sir.
because I heard you talking about it earlier today.
Yes, sir.
But somebody else in the chat was asking about it, and I couldn't remember. And then some gee whiz information. DHS just dropped these numbers, this data, that during the Biden administration, 8% of Nicaragua came into the United States. 7% of the people of Cuba came into the United States.
Wow.
6% of Haitians came into the United States. 5% of Honduras came into the United States. So that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of
And
folks.
that's not counting the other countries that they haven't come down with the number. So to show the immensity of all these people coming through during what Doc Chambers was talking about in the valley, down by Rio Eagle Pass, Laredo, and all that other parts of the valley, it's hard. It's very hard.
Well, that's good to know. Go ahead, Bill.
And if I could piggyback off the tariff information, I've had a lot of friends calling me saying, "Well, your boy lost his his court case." I was like, "No, this is wakey time." When the IEEPA authority that President Trump was going by should not be used. It's not. It's part of the authority that they are questioning, not the fact that he has the right or not right of utilizing tariffs, because Section 232 and Section 301 allots the president the authority to increase or decrease tariffs. So, and the U.S. Treasury Secretary had identified that within the last couple months, especially. And so when people hear the initial Supreme Court cancels President Trump's authority on tariffs, they don't take the time to read the rest of the story. And
Right.
that is exactly what is wrong
Right.
with our country, with our individuals. Even the smartest people I know are getting all nerved up. Similar situation when people said, "Oh, I knew that he wasn't supposed to call the National Guard in." No, you're correct. The Supreme Court said President Trump is not to call the National Guard in. You're correct. And then the Supreme Court said the president is to utilize the military. And then once the military is there, if the military wants to utilize the National Guard, they can then call in the National Guard. I said, so
But
there's a reason for these things, for the constitutional situation to come forward, and that's what this learning process is, more so than gotcha.
but let me add this to the tariffs. If the tariffs were not legit, why did everybody concede it? Why every other country conceded to the tariffs if it wasn't legit?
It's already in the books.
Lawfully,
There you go.
lawfully, they knew its own.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the way the world trades.
Yep.
That's it.
Amen.
They
Amen.
all conceded to it.
I hope y'all have a great weekend. Appreciate you. And
You too.
that is exactly how that's supposed to go.
Yep.
What we did tonight and y'all being introduced, that is what's supposed to happen. Great job. Thank you for
God
what
bless
you
you guys. Have a good night.
Thank
right,
you.
All right.
Hasta
Have a good
luego,
one.
amigos.
Adios. Hey, thanks for joining. Just know that things are going on where there are definitely U.S. national security threats, whether it's clandestine biological operations, whether it's terrorism. We're going to see these things. So have your mind, body, and soul ready for it. We're looking and thinking about the Middle East and the policies that we're dealing with. We're watching spooks, intelligence communities come alive and fight a war right in front of our faces. And that's the type of people that we are dealing with. So, if somebody's not understanding exactly, that's okay. If somebody is getting emotional over things, that's okay. Try not to for yourself and for the people around you. But know that if you are confused, if you are like, oh Lord, this is big, or if people that come into your life or have been in your life feel like that, ease them off, chill out, take a break, and pray about it. And now's a good time to be thinking about your relationship with the Lord, in my opinion. Of course, some people already have that. And in my opinion, those are the ones that are supposed to help walk others through that. So if we all do our part, the world would be a better place. I'd love for you to come and hang out with us at join.patriotshoot.com. Come on. We need you. We need the support. It is tight, and we're doing the best we can. Take a look at our the people that we promote. Thank you for everything that everybody does. The mods, Chaz, everybody that's affiliated here, we appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you. And hope everybody has a great weekend. And just know that big things are happening. I hope you feel the energy. I hope you can see it. Don't let anybody get you down. Rock and roll. We're in good shape, but we're going to go through it. Have a great evening, great weekend. No telling what'll happen. Everybody in Talk Time, we'll probably be there all weekend, rocking and rolling, because there's a good chance it's going to be big. State of the Union. Big things are happening. Big things are coming out. Still be watching for Fulton County. Thanks so much for joining. Have a good evening, and bye.